High above the Lumbrian kingdom, Princess Ellien soared through the sky, the wind rushing past her as she rode her winged cat. The vast landscape stretched below, a breathtaking view of her homeland. She was just about to join her friends when a flare shot up in the distance, a familiar signal she knew all too well. Her friends exchanged glances, immediately understanding what it meant. Ellien sighed, knowing her brief moment of freedom was over. Though they were disappointed she had to leave so soon, they assured her they would see her at her birthday celebration. But she quickly turned them down, explaining that this year the festivities would be kept within the family. As she returned to the castle, she was met by a flustered Nazara, the royal family's minister, who was already waiting for her at the entrance. Apologizing for summoning her so abruptly, Nazara led her inside, explaining that the king and queen were requesting an audience, a phrase that had taken on a completely different meaning in recent times. In the royal chamber, the truth of her situation was laid bare. Her parents, King Solon and Queen Ellesmere, had been transformed into monstrous creatures. Though their minds were lost in the darkness, they still responded to Ellien, the only one who could calm them. As soon as she arrived, she had to intervene before her father could devour Minister Bolinar. Ellien had taken on the burden of their secret, never revealing what had truly happened a year ago when the king and queen ventured into the dark forest of eternal darkness. A sudden whirlwind of pure shadow had engulfed them, leaving them cursed. From that day forward, Ellien had stepped into her role, keeping the kingdom running while ensuring no one discovered the truth. Her retainers admired her strength. She had never once complained about the weight she carried. Suddenly, the general of the Lumbrian army arrived, seeking an audience with the king and queen. Bolinar warned that their secret couldn't be kept forever, but Ellien feared what would happen if the general found out. Nazara, already overwhelmed, panicked, realizing they had exhausted every excuse they could think of. Bolinar smugly reassured them that, as the Minister of Communication, he had plenty more. After sending the general away with yet another excuse, Ellien retreated to her room, exhausted. The weight of the secret was suffocating, and there seemed to be no end in sight. Just then, the sound of a distant horn broke through the night. The royal postmaster had arrived with news. At long last, the oracles of the sun and moon had responded to her plea. The letter stated that the oracles would visit to assess her claim, coinciding with her birthday. That evening, tensions flared among the ministers. Nazara, having gone from a respected retainer to a monster caretaker, was fed up. The kingdom needed a real ruler, and with Ellien turning 15, an opportunity had presented itself. If she were crowned queen, everything could be resolved. Before their scheming could go further, Ellien interrupted them, announcing that she had finally found the solution. The oracles would break the spell. However, Bolinar voiced a pragmatic concern. If the oracles failed, the kingdom would still need a leader. He urged her to consider taking the throne. When she asked what would happen to her parents, he hesitated before suggesting they be sent away, free to live out their days in peace. Reluctantly, Ellien agreed, but only on the condition that they tried the oracles first. On the day of her birthday, only a small, trusted group gathered for the celebration, the risk of their secret being exposed too great for a grand affair. Even her monstrous parents were dressed up for the occasion, a surreal attempt to maintain normalcy. As promised, the oracles arrived atop a massive toad. Ellien rushed to greet them, her heart filled with hope. Upon seeing the king and queen, the oracles were stunned. They had assumed the term monsters was metaphorical, not literal. Sunny, one of the oracles, insisted they act quickly before it became permanent. However, when asked for the magical wand required for the ritual, Ludo sheepishly admitted he had traded it for a magic fob, an all-in-one device that could replace multiple wands. Before they could proceed, the queen suddenly swallowed them whole. Though she spat them back out, the king chased them off, forcing the oracles to flee on their giant toad, leaving Ellien furious. Disheartened, she began to seriously consider Nazara's proposal. That night, as she brought a slice of cake to her parents, guilt gnawed at her. She had shouted at them earlier, but they barely acknowledged her presence. The next morning, chaos erupted. Ellien had forgotten to lock their cage, and now her parents were rampaging through the kingdom. Chasing after them, she found herself standing between them and the army. With weapons drawn, the soldiers demanded to know why she was protecting them. And so, with no other choice, she revealed the truth. These creatures were her parents. The general, seeing the situation as unsalvageable, insisted that once ℭ𝔯𝔯n was crowned queen, the king and queen would be sent away, far from civilization. That evening, as her parents were being transported away, ℭ𝔯𝔯n couldn't bear it. Desperate, she devised a plan. With Flink's help, she retrieved the stolen magic fob and used it to animate the cages, making them walk away on their own. The general quickly caught on, sending Zenara and Bolinar after her. ℭ𝔯𝔯n led her parents into the dark forest, where they finally found the oracles. However, they revealed an unexpected truth. The spell could only be broken by the king and queen themselves. They had lost the light within them, and the only way to restore it was to journey to the Lake of Light. The journey was perilous, taking them through magical lands where sound manifested as physical objects, and even their own emotions became dangerous. Their fighting led to a wave of darkness, but when they saw ℭ𝔯𝔯n hurt, they finally stopped. This moment of clarity allowed them to regain their ability to speak. Continuing on, they reached a desert, where the darkness nearly consumed them. Despite their differences, the king and queen worked together to save their daughter. As they journeyed, small memories returned, but they quickly faded again. It wasn't until a quiet moment under the stars, when the queen whispered ℭ𝔯𝔯n's name, that a beacon of light appeared. Finally, they arrived at the Lake of Light, but the magic rejected the king and queen. The light revealed the truth. They had been consumed by their anger long before the spell was cast. Overwhelmed, they admitted that they could not return to the way things were. They still loved ℭ𝔯𝔯n, but they could no longer be together as a couple. Devastated, ℭ𝔯𝔯n lashed out, feeling abandoned all over again. She had sacrificed everything for them, yet they were the ones choosing to walk away. Her pain called forth the darkness, which began to consume her. Just as it seemed she would be lost forever, her parents, despite everything, chose her. The king shattered the cliff, allowing the waters of the Lake of Light to flood over her. The darkness vanished. As ℭ𝔯𝔯n opened her eyes, she saw her parents kneeling beside her, apologizing for everything. They told her without hesitation that they loved her, and with those words, the magic took hold, restoring them to their human forms. A year later, a flare once again summoned ℭ𝔯𝔯n back to the castle. Expecting another crisis, she rushed inside, only to find a surprise birthday party waiting for her, organized by her parents. The kingdom rejoiced, the oracles beamed with pride, and for the first time in years, things felt normal again. Though her parents now lived in separate castles, ℭ𝔯𝔯n was at peace. They had found their way back to her. And as she soared into the sky with Flink's laughter on her lips, she knew her adventure was only just beginning. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos and subscribe for more magical adventures. See you next time.